Hi everyone, my name is Karen Rofaeel. I'm currently a fourth year psychology student at York University, and today I'm going to be talking to you about psychology at York, what I like, what I found helpful, and some of my advice and tips. I chose to study psych at York because psychology is a very diverse and large program at York University. So there are so many different things you can do with getting a psychology degree and so many different paths you can take when studying psych. So that's definitely one of the pros of having a psych degree. And because it is such a large program, there are definitely a lot of diverse people for you to meet and different experiences and opportunities for you to get involved and to learn more about yourself. But I would say that because it is so large, that can also be considered a con because it might just be harder to meet new students or get to make those connections with your professors or TAs, because your courses will probably be 200 to 300 people every single year except your last year. I think another thing that can be considered a con about York is that it's a commuter school. So what that means is most people don't live on campus and majority of students do commute to school every day. I don't think that really affects campus life, but some people do see that as a con. So it really depends on your personal preference. I wouldn't say that the program is very competitive or there's that competitive atmosphere in psych, but people are definitely motivated to be the best and get the best opportunities. But there is that sense of we're all in this together, and from my experience, other students are very helpful. So I wouldn't say that it's that cutthroat competitive atmosphere. So if you are in the Bachelor of Science degree, you can expect labs in your first year science courses. But if you're doing the Bachelor of Arts stream, you probably won't be finding yourself in too many labs. Most of the psych courses are 3-hour lectures once a week. If not, they would be 2.5-hour lectures twice a week. So you do definitely need that ability to sit and lecture for a long time in this program. But I do like having it once a week because you kind of just go to lectures once and then you can have the rest of the week to yourself. I would say the program at York is not very hands-on and there aren't many. And the pace, I would say, is probably medium paced. There are a lot of readings for your courses each week, so it's easy for you to fall behind. But I wouldn't say that it's a very fast-paced program and it's challenging to keep up as long as you are organized and you are doing the weekly reading. Some skills that are helpful to have as a psych student are definitely critical thinking, especially when you get to third and fourth year courses, because you will be doing a lot more assignments involving, analyzing research and possibly creating your own research. So having critical thinking is definitely a major skill and a bonus. But fear not, critical thinking is actually a course in fourth year students for students in the regular honors program. So it can definitely help you enhance those skills as well. Psych program at York is very reading heavy. So regardless of whether you're in the BA or the BSc or the specialized program or the regular program, there are a lot of readings to keep up with for each course each week. And then some courses will be more test focused and some will be more assignment focused. So again, I think it just really depends on your professor and which courses you are taking. So your first year course as a psychology student is going to be Psych 1010, which is Intro to Psychology, and that is going to be for 1 year. So it's 2 semesters long. And as my professor called it in first year, it's like the open buffet of psychology because it does give you a little sample or a little taste of so many different aspects or fields of psychology, and you focus a bit on each of them. So you do get a very diverse or a wide breadth of what psychology is. And I personally found it to be a very interesting course, and a lot of non-psych students take it as well. In terms of general courses afterwards, there are a huge variety of courses you can take as a psych student. It really depends on what you're interested in. And what you learn also depends on which professor you have for each course, because each professor will have a different expertise and approach their courses differently. So it really does depend on who you're taking it with and which courses you are taking. So the application process to get into Psych at York is not very difficult, in my opinion. The admissions average, I think, is around a 70% or a mid 70% in high school. And you do need to finish your first year psych course, which is Psych 1010, with a minimum grade of C to continue in the program. There are no sort of extra requirements such as a supplemental application or reference letters or any of that to get into Psych at York. And then your course requirements depend on if you choose to do the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science. If you do the Bachelor of Arts, you really just need English, I believe. And then if you do the Bachelor of Science, you will have to take a math course in high school or in grade 12 and some science courses as well. So it really depends on which path you want to go through. There are definitely a lot of entrance scholarships you can get as you are entering York, depending on what your average is in high school. So I would suggest maintaining a strong average in high school, even though it can sometimes be tempting to lose your motivation in the last few months once you're in grade 12. But definitely having a high average throughout can help you financially once you get to first year. And there are a lot of scholarship opportunities from second year and upwards, whether they're academic or leadership scholarships or bursaries or scholarships you can get for being involved on campus. So there are definitely a lot of financial supports and opportunities. So first of all, every psychology student is required to take the Intro to Psych, which is 1010. You're required to take 1 year of stats, one semester of research methods, 1 semester of writing and psychology. And in your 4th year, you will either be required to do an honors thesis if you are in the specialized program, but if you are in the regular honors program, you will just need to take a critical thinking and psychology, which is another full year course. So those are the required courses for all students, regardless of whether you're in the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science. And of course, there are different requirements within each. So if you are in the Bachelor of Science, if you're going to apply to the Bachelor of Science, I would really recommend taking a wide variety of science courses and math courses in grade 12. They're requirements anyways, but some of them can help you with the upper year courses in science once you do get to university. So like the 2nd and 3rd year science courses. I personally took all 3 maths and all 3 sciences, and I found most of them to be very helpful for me once I got into university. There's also, I know some high schools offer the Intro to Anthropology, Sociology, and Psychology course. I wouldn't say that it's very necessary to have that in high school before entering into psychology, because first of all, not all high schools offer that course. So I think the university recognizes that it's not universally available. And the Psych 1010 course, or the Intro to Psych course in first year, really does give you a good background on psychology. My favorite courses included statistics in second year with Jody Martin, personality also in second year with Max Baranti, psychology of intimate relationships in 3rd year with Amy Muse, psychology and law in 3rd year with Regina Schuler, and I'm really enjoying the critical thinking and psychology course right now with Michaela Henia. So those are some of my personal favorites. And again, it really depends on what you're interested in, which professor you take these courses with. So my tip for course registration is to, as soon as course timetables become available, which is usually around February or March, to create a rough draft of what courses you want to take in the next year. There's a great tool called the Visual Schedule Builder that can do that for you, so that when your registration window does open, you can enroll in your courses immediately and you already know what you want to take. Again, because psychology is such a large program, the courses do end up filling up pretty quickly. I personally enjoyed or liked reading the readings after lecture because I sort of knew the content already, and I think the readings just took faster that way. Some people like to do them before going to lecture so that they understand what the lecture is about and they can be more engaged in the discussion and participate more in lecture. So I think it really depends what you prefer better, as long as you are staying on top of the readings and getting them done. Also, for the Psych 1010 course or the intro course, there is quite a bit of material because you are getting exposed to so many different aspects and fields in psychology. So it can be a bit overwhelming, but it's really important to just stay organized and make organized notes for yourself based on each of the sort of modules that you'll be covering or the chapters. And again, doing the readings as the course progresses and not leaving them all until the end. So some things I wish I realized in first year was the resources available to me. So at York, there are a lot of resources for first year students, such as peer mentoring and peer tutoring. There's also peer assisted study sessions or PASS. There's academic advisors. There are so many things that I wish I took advantage more of in first year that I unfortunately discovered later on in my academic career. And I would definitely recommend using those resources as soon as you do get to York. There aren't many co-op opportunities or any hands-on opportunities, but there are definitely a lot of research opportunities for you to get involved in, whether you're volunteering in a lab or you have a work study position as a research assistant, or you're doing your own research, which you can get credited for as in your courses. So I think the focus at York for the psych program is definitely very research heavy. So some job positions or opportunities you can expect coming out of the program is, first of all, a lot of students are interested in continuing education and going to graduate school. There's definitely a huge focus on getting to grad school when you're in psych at York. But then if you're not interested in that, there's still a diverse or a wide variety of job opportunities or paths you can take. So you can go into the rehab program, you can go into healthcare, you can go into HR. There are just so many opportunities and so many different things you can do with your degree because, again, it is so flexible and so diverse. But unfortunately, a lot of these paths you can take will probably require more training or more school or some sort of certification. So like I mentioned, York is known to be a commuter school, so not many people do live on campus. So that can be a pro or a con depending on how you perceive it. But regardless of that, there is definitely so many different cultures you can find at York depending on what you're looking for. So there's that partying culture, if that's what you're looking for. There is definitely a strong academic culture as well. There are a lot of extracurriculars, varsity sports, intramural sports. So even though a lot of people don't live on campus and do commute, there is still a very strong sense of student engagement and involvement at York. Some popular areas, Scott Library is definitely the most popular library, I would say, at York, but I find that it could get too crowded. So I personally didn't enjoy studying there a lot. I personally also liked studying at the Schulich Library because it was a bit further on campus and there were less students there. So I found it quieter to study there. I really liked the Starbucks and Tim Hortons in Central Square. The ladies who worked at Tim's were very kind and welcoming, and they always, put a smile on your face and greet you. There are a lot of food choices for you at York Lanes or in the First Student Center. The new student center or the second student center is also a great space for meeting up with people and studying or booking rooms if you're part of a student club. So a lot of people do study there as well, but I've also found that it can get pretty crowded in the afternoon, especially during midterm season or exam season. So I would recommend going in the morning or finding a quieter study space if that's what you need. And there are so many different clubs for you to get involved in at York. So there are academic clubs, there are spiritual clubs, there are sports related clubs, there are clubs based on interests and advocacy. So there are quite a diverse amount that you can get involved in. And as once you are a York student, I would recommend using YU Connect. And that's a website that you can check out that shows you all the clubs, what they're about, how to get involved with them, and how to contact them. That's a resource I personally used when I was in first year. I think academic clubs are a great resource, especially in first year, because they consist of students who are also likely in your program and can help you navigate your undergrad experience. They can also provide you with peer tutoring and peer mentoring resources and events to meet other people in your program or network with professionals in the field as well. So if you are going into psychology, your academic club is the Undergraduate Psychology Student Association. So you should definitely check them out as well. Like I mentioned, it might be a bit difficult to make friends in such a large program, in such a large university. So what I would recommend is just make small talk with the person sitting next to you in one of your courses and get to know them that way. Or you can go to social events, whether they're offered by your academic club or another club, because you do get to meet a lot of people through that. And I personally didn't go to PSYCH, but PSYCH is also a great opportunity for you to get to know your fellow students and fellow first year students and maintain long-term friendships with them as you progress through your academic career. There are definitely a lot of resources available for York students. So there's the Center for Sexual Violence, or as we call it, the Center. There's the Office of Student Community Relations, or OSCR. There are counseling services, student financial services, the Bennett Center, which is the registrar's office. A lot of students do frequently visit that. There's also the Office of Student and Academic Services for each faculty, where you can speak to an academic advisor. There's also a lot of resources available within your college. So what your college is basically your home base at university. So if you're studying psychology, your college is CalUMA, and many of the colleges provide a lot of academic resources as well, such as peer tutoring and peer assisted study sessions. They also hold their own events, and they also have work study positions and job opportunities and volunteer opportunities. They also do academic orientation. So I think your college is definitely a resource you want to be familiar with and check out when you are in first year and as you move through with your program. Some of the cool things about York as well is that we have our own bank, the BMO, we have our own dental office and walk-in clinic directly on campus in York Lane. So those are very convenient and helpful resources as well. So some advice I would have given to my first year self is to be more efficient in my note taking. So I used to make, separate notes for readings and lectures, and it was organized and it helped, but I think it took too much time. So I would suggest finding a note taking strategy that works for you and is efficient and organized, because once you do move forward in second and third and fourth year, your course load will increase significantly and you may not have all that time to make such detailed and thorough notes. So just being efficient and organized is very helpful. I would have also told myself to schedule more time for myself and doing things that I enjoy doing, and committing to taking care of myself. I think as a university student, you can definitely feel guilty or feel like you don't have time for doing things that take care of yourself or prioritize your mental health. But I would really recommend just scheduling some time either once a day or a few times a week to relax, to take care of yourself so that you don't burn out eventually. So another thing I wish I knew is to just seek out more supports available for me as a first year student, and to attend events and to get to know my college more. In first year, I think that would have been helpful in meeting new students and just transitioning to university as well. Good luck to everyone applying, and I hope to see you at the psychology program at York University. Bye.